Good afternoon, everybody. If you would, take your seats, please. We're about to get started.
President Cooper said he'll be right with you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the St. Tammany Parish Council Special Meeting, Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. I call this meeting to order. Mr. Bender, if you would, give us the invocation, and then Mr. Strickland, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Express all of our views on all sides of an issue and help the council to make good decisions as we come out of this meeting and our December meeting as well. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Mr. Strickland?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Rowling?
Here.
Ms. Casabon? Ms. Seiden? Mr. Phillips?
Here.
Ms. Tanner?
Here.
Mr. Impastato?
Here.
Mr. Burke?
Here.
Mr. Kugel?
Here.
Ms. O'Brien? Mr. Lachlan?
Here.
Mr. Bender?
Here.
Mr. Corbin?
Here.
And Mr. Strickland?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Public comment. A 3-minute time limit is established for each member of the public wishing to speak for or against an item on the agenda, except appeals. To ensure that all speakers are heard, please hold cheers and applause. Anybody who wishes to place a comment in the record but does not wish to speak at the podium may fill out a speaker card and check the box indicating that they do not wish to speak. So we have 3 special items that are discussion items only. And for those following along, what we've done is we've separated some of the items on the budget just so we can have separate conversations about them. So first up is a discussion of the amendment to the 2025 operating budget regarding the criminal justice system.
I have these cards.
Yep.
I don't know if they want to speak on these.
All right. Starting off with Mr. Corbin.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Parish Council, I'm going to read a statement. Several members of the Parish Council began meeting with the 22nd Judicial District Attorney and the judges several times prior to the release of the 2025 budget. The Parish Council received their copies of the administration's proposed 2025 budget on the same night and at the same time as the residents of St. Tammany Parish, October 3rd, 2024, just prior to the start of the council meeting. Starting the next day, several Parish Council members began meeting together almost daily to thoroughly review the proposed budget and look for additional sources of funding to address the state-mandated costs of the parish, especially the costs associated with our judicial system, including our jail. Our stated goal throughout has been to identify sufficient resources to fully fund all of our mandated costs, with particular attention paid to the most expensive components, the St. Tammany judicial system. The administration informed the Parish Council they too, at the direction of President Cooper, and independently but in parallel to the Parish Council, plan to pull together a few key people to take another look at the 2025 budget to perform a similar budget analysis with a similar mandated cost goal. Recently, team members from the Parish Council and the administration met to review what each group had learned in their review of the budget, compare notes about possible sources of additional funding, redo originally proposed and revised budgets for each of the mandated cost items, and develop a go-forward plan for addressing the current budget challenges. While this effort was in process, Parish Councilman Arthur Laughlin and Parish President Mike Cooper both believed we would reach agreement on a 2025 budget that provided the resources necessary to meet the needs of the 22nd judicial system and sustain a viable and effective judicial system for the residents of St. Tammany Parish. Hopefully the budget we present today will in fact reflect our achievement of that goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Impastato?
I'd just like to add that it was truly great for everyone to come together and work on what is important for the people of St. Tammany Parish. It meant a lot. We know we utilized available fund balances, we worked hard, we were able to come up with a solution, knowing at the same time that this is not sustainable. If we're not successful with our sales tax rededication, we're going to be right back in the same boat. So I do commend everybody that worked together to get this done in the entire council, and I was very happy to be a small part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 2 speaker cards. Mr. Sims? Oh, sorry, administration, you can go next while Mr. Sims.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Thank you, members of the council. Thanks for succinctly and eloquently providing that statement. We did, in fact, work together in finding a short-term solution in advance of what we feel can be a sustainable future for funding. I might add that not just reaching into fund balances, but we've actually deferred some projects that were budgeted but not yet expended or encumbered. So using everything available to us, we do have a solution to provide that, and that's going to be hopefully, again, reflected in what you're going to see today as an amendment. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Tanner and District Attorney Sims, if you want to walk up, you'll be next.
If possible, I would like to give the adjustments that
Sure.
we're doing. So in case Mr. Sims has a comment, we are taking $479,000 out of the available fund balance for 2025. We have $470,000 fines from the City Court of the East. We are moving $1 million from the fund balance for grants. It is currently at $2 million. We are reducing the contingency fund by $500,000 and moving that. We are reducing support of Safe Haven by $500,000 to move. The uncommitted funds for Deepwater Horizon of $280,000 we are moving. The Slidell Breakwater reduction, we're reducing the budget of $2 million. The total budget is $10 million. It will now go to $8 million at this time. The general building capital fund, we are moving $390,000. The jail roof, I understand, is almost complete, and we have $1 million we're moving from that. Jail capital funds uncommitted, $178,000. Replacement of the Justice Center, we're going to defer that for 1.4, some chillers needed for that. We're also going to defer the replacement of the AHC for the Justice Center of $2 million. The judges, we're adding 1.851, which gives them a total of $3,317,171. The DA, we're adding $4,157,676, which will give them a total of $6,284.712. We're also adding to the sheriff $4,187,508. Yes, to the sheriff for the jail. These are reflected in this budget, what we moved around, and as they've said in the past, this is, I guess you'd say, a Band-Aid. Hopefully the chillers won't go out at the Justice Center or whatever, but in the meantime, we are funding our Justice Center. Thank you.
Thank you. District Attorney?
Thank you all very much. A few months ago, things seemed pretty bleak. The proposed budget that would have cut 55% from both the DA and the judiciary from what we received last year would have imploded both the district attorney's office and the judiciary if a mass exodus didn't start before the budget actually took effect. That would have been catastrophic for this parish, the future of the parish, and pretty much our way of life in St. Tammany Parish. So I couldn't be more thankful that several of you, and all of you I've met with over the last couple months, many of you in person. We've sat down, we've had conversations, we've had telephone calls, and I think I've met with every single council member, and you guys have taken the time to really understand the situation, really look through the budget and look for solutions. I greatly appreciate it. In addition to the individual conversations that we had, I believe, and I don't know the inner workings that you guys have in the background, but I know you guys, I think, tasked some of your other fellow council members to form a working group that would come meet with the DA's office, and you did. Rick, I think all three of you may have been in some of those meetings. Cheryl, every meeting. Arthur, Joe, Pack, you at least one. Mr. Corbin, you were at every meeting. Really taking the time to methodically look through how we spend our money and the timing, how we're reimbursed. So I'm really thankful for y'all's time to really sit down and understand that. Mr. Corbin, you had a lot of, you took diligent notes during the entire phase. So very thankful. That working group, I think, was critical, not only to fixing this problem, but understanding kind of the needs moving forward in the future and kind of establishing a baseline of funding and what the future needs look like. So I'm very grateful for y'all's time to really understand that, really come up with a solution. Thank you, and hopefully we can meet once this is behind us and look toward long-term solutions as a collective, just like you guys have found a solution this time. So very much thankful for y'all's time for doing that. Thank you.
Judge Burris?
Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, council members, thank y'all. I won't try to duplicate everything that Mr. Sims just said. We have met and met and met. We've spent an extraordinary amount of time with each and every one of you. I know that y'all all have a lot of things going on, and our portion of the budget is just one of many other things that you all have going on. The fact that each and every one of you took the time that you did to sit down with us, to understand everything, to find a solution, not only to identify the problem, but to find the solution and protect your constituents, to protect our way of life in this parish. Council, thank you. We appreciate all of your time, all of your energy, all of your efforts to get to the budget, get this amendment, to find the money. We understand, just like Councilman Corbin said, that this is a short-term solution. It's obviously a problem that needs to be fixed in a long-term fashion. Certainly we are looking forward to working with you all and getting that worked out. I don't know if the final version, I'm not sure where that stands, but we look forward to working with y'all in March, that being on the ballot, and hopefully putting this to rest for at least the next 25 years, hopefully. So all that to say, I'll keep it short. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kugel?
I want to say I appreciate the DA and the Chief Judge's comments. I mean, where we are today compared to a few months ago is literally night and day, and I think the people of the parish are really going to appreciate that. I want to thank my colleagues for their hard work on this, getting this done. This safety really is one of the #1 reasons people live in St. Tammany, and everyone knows that. And as I mentioned a lot, sometimes you don't think about that because you're so accustomed to having it. And I know the people and the folks in St. Tammany Parish would know if the safety they have now disappeared tomorrow, and it's not guaranteed. And we all know that, and I just appreciate everybody's hard work on this, and I think the residents of St. Tammany Parish are going to as well.
All right, thank you. Seeing no further discussion, we're going to end discussion item number 1, and we're going to move on to discussion of other amendments to the 2025 operating budget. Did you want to start? Did you want to start, Jeff? Sure. Yep. Mr. Corbin?
So Sorry, just after, again, once we got the mandated costs, we addressed that item first. Once that process was ended, and we thought that we had reached a resolution that was satisfactory to both us and the administration, which is what you saw reflected and what Cheryl referred to earlier, then we started our budget hearings. We went through and reviewed each of the departments. We did them a little bit differently this year. We did them based on the way they're aligned on the budget as opposed by department. Candidly think that was a better process, and I thank Mary Burkell for coming up with that idea for approaching it a little bit differently. In any organization, you have to learn and change at appropriate times when opportunities come in front of us to do things better. And I think we did a better job. I did sit through them last year, and so I've had experience on both sides, even though I had was not yet in office. So I want to thank my colleagues for all the hard work. There's diligent effort on the part of the team to review all the items that were presented. I also want to take a moment and recognize President Cooper, Gina, and the directors for coming in, meeting with us, having candid, open conversations about what was embedded in their budgets, and being willing to talk about the items that are in there so that if we had ideas, suggestions, alternatives, they didn't immediately block them. They were willing to enter into dialogue, have good conversation, and hopefully what we've prepared fully reflects all those conversations in an appropriate fashion. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Looking to my right and my left. Anyone? Cheryl?
Okay. To take Jeff's position, the directors, I know it's terrible to get up in front of 8 or 10 councilmen and not knowing what they're going to ask, but they were very good. They answered our questions. I'd like to thank the administration, Gina, President Cooper. I think that we've come a long ways, and hopefully it will continue with us working together. The council changes on operation are as follows. Services, audit and accounting, $68,000 is going to be moved from finance to the council for the audit, because we are the ones that are in charge of the audit. Service audit and accounting, there will be an additional $5,000 more. That is to answer the questionnaire from the legislative auditor. Criminal court fund, there's a change to add a position. There is $20,000 for council office equipment and cameras for the council office. We removed a finance position of a business process manager for $121,000. Grant service program operations to write a procedure manual, we removed $150,000. Planning service architect, we removed $100,000. Facilities position for project planner, we added $72,000. DA staff, civil staff allocation for senior staff, we added $146,776. For animal services, adding fund to spade and neuter, we added $125,000. That gives a total of $200,000 for that. And from IT funds coming from utilities, we added $41,940 for Doctors Exchange help desk support. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I would also like to add a special thanks to the unseen heroes in this. The PIO staff had to scramble at the last minute due to the election that was happening in this. We had to upgrade to our Superior location in Slidell, but they made it happen so that we were able to get everything done. So really, they deserve a round of applause. Mr. Corbin, and then...
You didn't give them a round of applause.
Round of applause. They do. Let's give them one. Oh. Well, and a special thank you to Finance, because they actually, between them and our administrative staff, they actually crunched all the numbers. So special thanks to Leslie and to Barry. Thank you very much. Mr. Corbin, then Mr. Smith.
Yeah, very, very quickly, I was going to thank Leslie and Annie because I did miss them earlier, so I want to make sure they were recognized as well. We appreciate the support that you all provided. I wanted to just share one example of the kind of dialogue and interchange that took place in the the budget review line items. Cheryl, Ms. Tanner, or Councilwoman Tanner mentioned facilities position for project planner. We added $72,000 to put a position for as a project planner in the facilities organization. We also offered similar opportunities for public works. They said they don't need one, as well as engineering, and engineering had an opportunity to redirect an open slot they had to be a project planner. Having worked in engineering the bulk of my life, I've rarely operated without a project planner as my right-hand person to help, not the project manager that are implementing the project, but somebody that helped me stay on track, key milestones, key dates, RFP due, RFP return, the proposals are due back, decision dates, things of that sort, just to make sure we had a broad overview of what was going on within the organizations that I ran at different times. I talked and worked with our council members. I described the position that I thought was necessary and that I saw lacking in some of our organizations. Not that they're not doing a good job, but an extra resource so that our senior people aren't trying to keep all that in their head, and have a resource with them that can go help them keep track of what's going on in their different departments. We all work together. As I said, we briefed it with each of the organizations, and the result is we only had to add one position, but the concept of having that capability within each organization, I believe, will be consistently applied to all three of those organizations. And I personally think it's a best practice that will be helpful to us in the future.
Thank you.
I thank the council for letting us go do that. Thanks.
All right, Councilman Smith.
Arthur, you touched on it. I just didn't want to leave our council administration out of the picture, because we know how much work they did. The whole council worked well together, but specifically Mr. Corbin, we went to many a meeting, Arthur, Joe, Cheryl, lots of meetings. And we kind of got back with the rest of the council, and everybody was just open-minded, smart, common sense. We found that we were in very much agreement with the administration, President Cooper and his staff. It was funny how much we kind of all agreed that here's the changes that needed to be made to make this budget work. And I can say this, we've got department heads that are very good stewards of the monies that they work with. We didn't find a whole lot of waste or ideas that you don't need this, you know, everything was justified. So I appreciate that, guys. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no others, we're going to end this discussion item. And we're going to move on to discussion item number 3. Before I do that, just for y'all, we had separated the two parts into two discussion items. So anything that was jail, justice center, district attorney, and judges related was separated out. Then the rest of the operating budget. But those two are going to be combined into one amendment. And now we're going to the other side of the budget, which is a discussion of the capital budget. These are like the roads and projects and things like that. Who would like to go first? Mr. Yep. Oh, Mr. Corbin, and then, yeah.
Just again, I would reemphasize great collaboration. We went down through line item by line item, looked at these items, and worked in concert with the administration and the directors to make sure that we thought the projects that are referenced here, where we moved money, is the best reflection of we thought was appropriate and valuable for the parish and for all the constituents of St. Tammany Parish.
All right. Councilman Impastato?
Yeah, everybody really worked together great and came together to come up with improvements and things that we can do to improve our parish. And I'm going to go ahead and read through the changes that we made to the budget. So one is the Camp Salmon Master Plan, $100,000. Number 2 is the Bayou Lacombe Regional Detention Pond. We're removing that and replacing it from a different funding source. Number 3 is the Tammany Trace connection to John Davis Park in Lacombe, feasibility study and design for a tunnel. Then back to the Bayou Lacombe Regional Detention Pond, we added that back. It came out of the drainage funds. US 190 Judge Tanner Roundabout, $50,000 reduction. LA 59 Harrison Avenue Roundabout, $645,000 add, design, DOT funding, construction. Dove Park improvements, $250,000 add, final design. Carroll Road, $408,000 add, final design. Ben Thomas Road improvements, $400,000 add, construction, mill, and overlay. Nolan Road, $200,000 add, right-of-way survey and services, next step. Abney Country Air, $350,000 add, engineering services and survey. Grand Avenue in Lacombe, $500,000 add, construction raise 6 inches. LA 1085 road transfer feasibility evaluation, $20,000 add, evaluation of economics transfer. And last is LA 1085/LA 1077 ponds, $450,000 add for design and permitting.
All right.
That is it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Tanner?
Thank you. Again, I would like to thank especially Mike for the capital projects. We had some money, and he said, got with the directors, what do y'all think of this list? So the list that Mr. Impastato read was that list. Also, I would like to thank Mary and the staff. They're wonderful. You know, it's a shame they have to keep running off copies because we don't know where we put our last budget. But they were excellent in handing us whatever we needed and finding the details. Thank y'all so much for your hard work.
All right. Councilman Strickland?
Yes, I'd just like to thank those that help in support of the Ben Thomas project, because that road is a very busy road, and to get it overlaid in stripes, because that's a throughway that a lot of people are used to bypass the Highway 11 bridge, which is a very dangerous bridge. So making sure that that road is really accessible and in a good view keeps people safe.
All right. Councilman Phillips?
I just wanted to emphasize that the US 190 Judge Tanner Boulevard roundabout, the price was reduced by $4.2 million. There's $50,000 to do a traffic study, but that project, I was told, is not going away. I just wanted to make sure people understood that.
All right. And then Mr. Corbin, take us home.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to add, and Pat just, Councilman Phillips essentially did it, was to, when Councilman Impastato spoke, he talked about removing $50,000. That was not the case. We reduced the budget for that roundabout by $4.2 million because we need to go assess that. That project is a fairly long, old project with a long lifetime, and we want to make sure that's the right use of $4.2 million today, even though previous data implied that, or not implied, indicated that it was an appropriate use historically. So Mr. Phillips said it correctly. That line item is still there, but we're going to go do a study first and make sure that it's still an appropriate use, again, of $4.2 million. And we will address that with the administration, in concert with the administration, in the future once that study is complete. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would just like to add the one thing for that project. There, when it was originally conceived, that's prior to most of us being here, there wasn't a fire station there. Now a fire station has been put on there, so we need to evaluate whether a fire station should empty right into a roundabout. Mr. Phillips.
On that note, the fire station needs to have rapid access to that roundabout to keep the time to get to the fire shortened.
Yeah.
If not, they have to come out to a busy intersection to get to an intersection, which will take additional time. And that would defeat the whole purpose of having the fire station up there.
All right, seeing no other lights, looking to my left and to my right, we're gonna conclude the discussion item and then move on to the ordinances for adoption. All right. Ordinance calendar number 7703, ordinance to adopt the 2025 operating budget.
I'll make a motion to amend.
All right, Ms. Tanner, let me put you on so you can be recorded. All right, Ms. Tanner and Mr. Impastato. Ms. Tanner?
I make a motion to amend, as was stated prior, and that we amend this budget.
Okay.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to amend. All right, so now we need to vote, and then we will then need to move on to, so vote your machines.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
We need to call an amendment and reintroduction.
We'll reintroduce it after.
We're just asking the
Yeah,
amendment.
we have to vote first, and yeah.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
All right, Mr. Corbin, would you like to make a motion to reintroduce as amended?
I'd like to make a motion to reintroduce as amended.
And Mr. Burke, is that your second? All right, so Corbin and Burke. All right, moving on to item number 2, ordinance calendar number 7704, ordinance to establish the 2025/2029 capital improvement budget and capital assets.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr.
I
Impastato.
make a motion to substitute with the revised version.
All right, so we have a motion, Councilwoman Tanner, we have a motion and a second to substitute with the amended version. Please vote.
And that motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
And Mr. Smith, can I have a motion to reintroduce as amended?
Motion to reintroduce as amended.
And Councilwoman Casabon has seconded that. Thank you. All right, so that includes the ordinances for adoption. Moving on to appointments. First item is a resolution to appoint Donald Sharp to replace Evan Spiceland, whose term expires at the end of this year, to the Board of Commissioners for the Greater New Orleans Expressway Commission. Councilwoman Tanner?
Thank you. I would like to have Mr. Sharp on the board. He served on this board in prior years, and I make the motion to appoint him.
All right, and Mr. Rowling? Do I have you on?
Yes, before we, I guess, finish that motion, I wanted to thank Mr. Spiceland for all his hard work. He's always been involved in the community, cares about the citizens of this parish. So I want to thank him right now for all he's done for this parish. Thank you.
All right. Councilwoman Casabon?
Yes, I concur with this appointment. I'd like to second it. Mr. Sharp has been with a retired policeman for many years, St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Department, very familiar with the process and stuff, so I'd like to second that.
All right, and Mr. Smith?
I'd like to third the motion.
And we have a third. All right, so we have a first, second, and third. Seeing no others, please vote. Councilman Impastato? Oh, sorry, you're for next, right? Okay.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
All right, item number 2,
Oh, wait.
You need
Mr.
to
Chairman,
yes, sir.
this is a parish-wide appointment. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and adopt.
All right,
Second.
and a second by Mrs. Tanner. So we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and adopt. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
All right. Item number 2, resolution to appoint Dale Jenkins to fill a vacancy on the Board of Commissioners for the St. Tammany Parish Hospital Service District Number 1. Councilwoman Casabon? Yes. Can you press your...
I'd like to so move, yes.
All
This
right.
is to replace our recently member that has passed away, and we'll honor him next month.
All right, we have a motion and a second from Councilwoman Tanner. Please vote.
Do we need to adopt, suspend?
No, it's not
The motion
parish-wide.
is unanimous
Okay.
with 2 absent.
All right, so just for explanation, since this is not parish-wide, this can just go on
Okay.
as normal. All right, ordinances for introduction. There was there'll be a public hearing for these on December 5th. Ordinance calendar number 7753, ordinance to amend St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinances Part 1, Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 3, Parish Council, Section 2-75, Agenda Format, to provide for changes to the agenda format. Councilman Corbin?
Yes, I put this ordinance in. As many of you know that attend our meetings on a regular basis, one of the things we've had to do of late is when appeals in particular come up, we've modified the order in which we take things, and in modifying it, sometimes it's created confusion on the part of the public and candidly on the part of us as to exactly what we're talking about at that moment. So what this ordinance does is it moves appeals to the front of the agenda, not to the very first item, it moves them up in the agenda so we can address things that typically involve a wide variety of people early, allow those people to go home and watch the rest on TV if they'd like. So that's the basis of that amendment, or that ordinance. Did address it and discuss it with the council members in advance to make sure that I wasn't doing anything that they were unhappy with.
All right, thank you. And again, this is only for introduction. This will be discussed at the December 5th meeting. Mr. Corbin, would you like to make that motion?
So moved.
And Mr. Burke? All right, so we have a motion and a second. Moving on to ordinance calendar number 7754, ordinance to amend the 2024 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 44, the St. Tammany Parish Jail. Mr. Impastato, can I get a motion to introduce?
I move to introduce.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, it's Councilwoman Tanner. Seeing no other comment. Moving on to ordinances for adoption. Ordinance calendar number 7726, ordinance to amend the 2024 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 38, technology capital projects, ARPA. This was introduced in November. All right, Ms. Tanner.
Thank you. Grant Flack and his IT department has done a wonderful job trying to get internet and Wi-Fi and everything they're involved out to the rural sections. Thank you so much. This will also help to finish that project. I make a motion.
All right, we have a motion. Can I have a second? And Mr. Rowling? All right, seeing no other comments, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
All right, ordinance number 2, ordinance calendar number 7730, ordinance to amend the 2024 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 41, utility capital project. Mr. Impastato, would you like to make a motion?
I move.
All right, so we have a motion from Mr. Impastato, second by Mr. Kugel. Mr. Corbin, you have your light on?
Yes, sir, I do. This is just to reiterate, this is for the utilities, for some of the projects we've had going on that are being funded by ARPA, consolidation on the east side, improvement in Crossgates in particular, and the neighborhood surrounding Crossgates water system, as well as on the west side of St. Tammany.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Seeing no other comments, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
All righty, ordinance calendar number, ordinance number 3, ordinance calendar number 7731, ordinance to amend the 2024 operating budget, amendment number 18. Councilman Burke, can I have would you make a motion for introduction? Thank you. Can I have a second?
Adoption.
Second by Mr. Cool. Oh, for adoption, I apologize. All right, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Yep. So that concludes our regular agenda, but I do have one off the floor item.
I would make a motion.
Mr. Impastato, would you like to make a motion to open the floor?
Yes, sir.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, second by Mr. Kugel. Let's vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
All right, so this is emergency ordinance to amend the 2024 capital improvement budget and capital assets budget, amendment number 45, animal services facility and Deepwater Horizon capital projects. All right, so Mr. Impastato?
I'd like to make a motion.
We have a motion. Second by Mr. Burke.
This is an emergency ordinance to
Yeah.
adopt the emergency ordinance.
All right, do we have any discussion on this? Nope. Please vote.
And that motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
All righty. May I have a motion to adjourn only the special meeting? Okay, and then Mary, we open at 2? All right, so we're going to have a 20-minute recess, and then at 2 o'clock we have agenda review.